Guys, this is Dave Gass on a very cold but sunny afternoon in Massachusetts. Now, since I've been out of work for 10 months after surgery, I was always too busy when I worked to do much thinking, which was kind of a blessing. Now that I'm home by myself all day with Buckley, and we wait for my wife to get home, and that pretty much starts our night. Uh, I just been doing a lot of thinking about things that were always presented to me in my life and a gift from God that I always acknowledged, even as a young kid. It's intuition and knowing when a life altering or life changing decision or opportunity was coming my way. And I believe most of the time I made the right decision, which led me to have a pretty successful life. Uh, I can just think back on, I could go back forever, but I would have different people, a lot of my father's friends, they would pull me to the side and just say, you're going to do good. You're going to be all right. Because, we were really struggling when I was a kid, and they saw something in me. And my wife saw that same thing in me, and employers have seen that same thing in me, luckily, whatever it is. It's a gift. Uh, YouTube hasn't seen that same thing, gift in me, uh, by having a channel that doesn't grow. But this is for fun. If you're making money on here, God bless you. But yeah, so I've been around the house, been doing a lot of thinking, and I think of the travels, the yellow brick road that led me to where I am today. And other than right now being out of work, man, it's been a wild journey. I can think of, when I'm going to say obviously meeting my wife, but before then meeting my wife, her making the suggestion to go to auto body school, and then getting my first job in the auto body trade, meeting a guy. I was working in the body shop. I used to have to go up to the parts department. It was a dealership, and the guy took a liking to me, and he basically said, "Hey, my brother, he runs another shop. You'd be a better fit there. You'd have a better opportunity to grow. Go to that shop." I'm there about a year. I learn a lot from a lot of great guys. I grow really fast as a painter, and then I meet my next boss, who was the paint distributor. So I go from painter now to working as a representative and a painter and doing demos and sales work and all that for the guy who sells the paint. And then from that guy, I meet my next boss, and on and on and on. It just always worked that way. And then I would go to Auto Body Association meetings, and I'd talk to this guy about sports all the time that owned a body shop. Boom. Eventually, he became my next boss. It was just one thing after another, but it was always, I had this intuition of, oh, this is an opportunity and this is the next step. I wasn't looking to jump everywhere. I was none of that stuff. And then the same thing has happened in our married life, where we bought our first house at 25, our second year of marriage, new construction, and it had a mail carrier named Liz. And Liz, we were unhappy in that house. We had a really nosy neighbor. It just wasn't for me. It was a city house, and I wanted to get out to the country so bad. In that year, and it was about a year and a half, interest rates went from 925, which it was the first time in 30 years, this is 1991 or 2, that the interest rates had gone into 10%. So we had, whatever our mortgage was, I'll round it off to $1,000. And this girl, Liz, used to tell me, oh, her father, her brother, her sister, they all build houses in this neighborhood out in a desired community where we wanted to live. Brand new construction, brand new neighborhood. And the interest rates dropped to 6.25 in that year and a half. So now we were able to purchase a much more expensive house and keep the same mortgage, sell that house, get out of the neighborhood I didn't like, and keep the same mortgage. Without meeting that mail carrier and talking to her all the time and whatnot, we wouldn't have ended up there. Now, we live at that house for 11 years and loved it. Beautiful, beautiful country neighborhood. And I have an incident come up and like a 2x2 ad on the cover of a newspaper talking about zoning changes in that neighborhood. And it was attached to our property. And they were basically going to change about 1,000 acres in which was conservation land, and it was a big problem. And I was not aware of this situation. This was a year-long battle, which I won. But once again, it was one of those opportunities that got us here to our dream house. But anyways, we were a direct abutter of them changing the zoning on this uh, property that was protected by the government. And like I said, there's about 1,000 acres, and we were the direct abutters. I see this 2x2 ad on the cover of the paper back when I used to get the newspaper before work. I'm like reading the story, and I'm like, that's our backyard. Oh my God, this is going to change all our privacy. It's going to change everything what they're doing, and it's illegal. And it had been voted in 8-1 by very powerful people. A lot of money behind this, and I left work. I went right to City Hall and said, "Nah, this was illegal." I wouldn't leave. The mayor wouldn't come out. Finally, after hours, he came out. I'm very tenacious, and I said, "This doesn't count. You didn't inform me. I'm in a butter." And then I started this whole campaign, and finally I got neighbors to join in, which at first they're, saying, "Yo, you can't fight City Hall." Well, I did, and I won 8-1. And the only person who voted against me, it was a health reason why they did. And they approached me about it and said, if you needed my vote, I would have given it to you. But, uh, you know, they get Blue Cross if they're city councilor, and she would have lost her Blue Cross, and she was battling breast cancer. I totally understood. So now that happens. From there, I'm looking at the players in this whole thing and why did that happen and how is this going to be and whose names were on this, and I discover something. Well, me and that guy come to an understanding and got me here to the next town where I really wanted to be. We used to drive through this neighborhood years ago when it was just being built, and then when building, there was a big real estate crisis. The neighborhood was empty. The sidewalks were in. The underground utilities were in. No houses. They had planted trees all along the sidewalk. It was beautiful. But there was no houses. We end up here. It's amazing. We drove by this lot probably 50 times, dreaming about having a house here, and it happened. And on and on and on. It seemed like not that nothing was ever given to me, but I always would say, this is one of them instances where I have to make the right decision. This is life changing, and I just seem to always, they happen to all of us, but some of us don't maybe have the intuition and don't make the right choices. It's just sometimes you just meet certain people, you get a certain electricity, a certain vibe, and it just happens. It's my whole life has been stages and steps, but not always forward. Sometimes sideways, sometimes a step back to move forward. And my dad had this great saying. I think it was from way back. Even Avon used to use it, but whoever made up the saying back in the day, it was plan your work your plan. So every time one of these things would happen, I'd come up with a plan and I'd figure out how to make it work. And to this day, I still do that. Now, this moment I'm in, and there was many more times like that, But this moment I'm in now, where I've become disabled due to this double spinal fusion, it's one of those moments again. What will happen with it, I don't know. That has not been presented to me yet. I'm waiting, I'm looking, I'm hoping, and hopefully I'll get that feeling once again and say, this is my new direction and carry on from here. Uh, I was at the local hardware store, and this was crazy. My father had passed away, I think, a week or two earlier. This was 2023, and one of the guys who works there, I guess he's very religious. He comes down the aisle, and he says, "Hey, how you doing, buddy?" He says, "Can I help you?" Blah blah blah. And then he's walking away, and he turns around and he said, "Did you lose somebody important lately?" It gave me chills. It was 2 weeks earlier. I had lost my dad to that day. And I said, yeah, my dad. He said, yeah, when you came in the store, I could feel that energy. He's with you, and he wants you to know everything's going to be okay. He's proud of you, but hang in there. Something great is going to happen to you. And that was it. And now we'll see. But just a little journey, something different from Dave Gass on how I believe in intuition. I believe we all get these signs. It's just, do you make the right decision? Sometimes it's the tough decision that people won't make, so they don't elevate to the next level. But we all get presented these different situations. And hopefully I'll be getting one coming up, and I'll make the right decision, and I will continue to prosper in my life. I hope everybody's doing well, and Dave Gass out.